Welcome to the Couch Media Corps.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thank you for tuning into the Couch Media Corps channel again. My name is Andres, and oh, I forgot. We got graphics now. Thanks to my audio video advisor, Ron, we got hooked up. We're taking this channel to the next level. But anyways, today we're going to be reviewing Mortal Kombat. All right, so the long-awaited Mortal Kombat movie is here, and it's been a long time coming, man. It's since the 90s, you know. And I could honestly say that after watching this movie twice, it's great. It's not perfect. There's some things here and there that are not great, which I'll be talking about later on in the video. But overall, this movie's great. If you're a fan of Mortal Kombat in any shape or way, I think you'll enjoy this movie. Without further ado, let's get to the review.
Round 1. Kano.
Now, right off the bat, I want to start off with a character that surprised me and I didn't think I was going to like so much. Kano. Yes, I said it, Kano. So, let's give a round of applause for Kano. 10 out of 10 performance, man. He was amazing, yo. Josh Lawson killed it as Kano. He was super funny in the movie. Like, almost every joke hit. Like, I don't think any joke didn't hit. Like, he was hilarious, and the way he interacted with everybody, with all the characters, was super fun. Like, everything was like kind of like realistic too. I remember, like, my favorite part of the movie, of his, was when when they first met Liu Kang in Outworld. You see Liu Kang coming from the distance. You know, in Kano fashion, he's always aggressive. So as soon as Liu Kang gets too close, he's like, hey, stay right there, don't get any closer. And then Liu Kang just throws a fireball at him. And it's funny how Kano reacts, though. He reacts like kind of realistically, like, what the fuck was that? Like, what was that? You know, like, how the hell did you just throw a fireball out of your hands? And like, can you teach me, do this and that and that? And then it was funny, like, and then Liu Kang approached him with, like, talking with his, like, philosophical ways and stuff like that. Put his hand on Kano's shoulder, and Kano was like, what the fuck? What's happening right now? Like, it was so funny. Like, his reactions towards, like, the whole world was, like, funny as hell, through all the supernatural shit that was going on, and he was hilarious. Like, most films, I feel like, that deal with anything, like, supernatural or, like, sci-fi-ish, if it's happening to a regular person that's never seen it before, they usually react in a way that, like, they're okay with everything. Like, they're so nonchalant about the crazy stuff that's happening. So I just like the way Kano played it. Like, he'd never seen anything like it, so he was acting like, what the fuck is happening? You know, like, like, it was amazing. He definitely surprised me. I didn't think that he was gonna be like one of my favorite parts of the movie, but he definitely was one of my favorite parts, and Josh Lawson just killed it. He just embodied Kano to, like, the core. Everything that Kano is, Josh Lawson killed it. Now, Kano definitely died in this movie when Sonya put that garden gnome in his eye, because I don't see him surviving that. So I'm gonna be super bummed out if they don't find a way to bring him back in the next movie. Hopefully they could reanimate him, like, kind of like how Sindel and Shao Kahn took over the champions and made them evil versions of themselves, like in Mortal Kombat. I think it started in Mortal Kombat 10, carrying on to Mortal Kombat 11. So that was a cool way of, like, having an evil version of them. And then ultimately bringing him back with more of a accurate look with the little cyborg faceplate. So hopefully that comes back, because it'll be a super waste if he doesn't come back as Kano. So definitely super surprising, and I definitely loved Kano.
Sub-Zero.
Let's talk about Sub-Zero. Round of applause for Sub-Zero. Wow. Joe Taslim once again kills it in another role. But now, like, this guy just took it to a whole nother level. Like, he became Sub-Zero. Like, he was insane, like so damn cool. I think the coolest version of him in any form of media, whether game-wise, live action-wise, comic book-wise, or whatever. I enjoyed the hell out of Sub-Zero in this movie. He was so evil, yeah. Like, he was so cool. He was like, the way they depicted him, like, as a real bad guy this time, because Sub-Zero, I don't know if anybody knows the Sub-Zero lore for Bi-Han. Bi-Han was ultimately set up by Quan Chi, a sorcerer that, you know, shapeshift and kind of staged the whole Scorpion killing of his family and his clan and things like that, and blamed it on Sub-Zero, Bi-Han, the Bi-Han version of him. So he really wasn't truly a bad guy in most of the time in Mortal Kombat, but in this movie, he was a legit bad guy. Like, he was up to everything, and just like hunting down the champions. It was such a damn cool like way of how they depicted him. It was just menacing. Like, every time he came into the scene, or like he was gonna be introduced, the environment change. It starts to snow, or it gets cold, or like you see, you know, ice forming, or there's already ice. Like, he already transformed an area into ice. Like, it was just so damn cool the way they handled Sub-Zero in this movie, and he was amazing. He almost had like kind of like a Jason-esque vibe, like just a straight murderer, and he just shows up like whenever, you know. There's a scene later in the movie where he shows up to Cole Young's wife's, I think her name was Allison, her house, and then he like, the shot is like Allison going into the laundry room to get something, like passing the front door. And then when she comes back, Sub-Zero is there, like Jason, ready to kill. Like, it was so damn cool. And you could see, like, before they show him, you could see like the glass fogged up and almost like freezing over. And it was just amazing, like how they depicted him. You could see the effort that Joe Taslim put into it. Also, like, most of the time his face was covered by the mask, but like even with his eyes, he acted so well. Like, everything was. He killed it as Sub-Zero. Like, he was amazing. I love Joe Taslim, man. He's a beast. Like, everything he does is so dope. Like, I've liked everything that he's done so far. But man, Sub-Zero, cold.
Cabal.
Now let's get into Cabal. Yo, Cabal was shockingly dope as fuck. That guy was, from game to movie, like, there was no misstep in between. Nothing was left on the table. That guy was spot on, yo. He wasn't in the movie that much. He wasn't in a decent amount. I'm not gonna say he wasn't in the movie that much, but he wasn't in a decent amount. And like, from the moment he stepped on screen, the first words he said, like, yeah, that screech is a real turn on. Like, just the way he talked and the way he moved, like, he was so dope. And it was a nice surprise. Like, I thought he wasn't gonna be in the movie at all, like barely, like just like a little side character. But he was actually in the movie a good amount, and he was so cool. Like, everything, like Daniel Nelson killed it as Cabal. I don't know if he was doing the voices of him or just acting as the body, but he was great. Like, he was so dope. He had a lot of cool moments. They handled his energy very well too, like his speed. I was wondering how they were gonna handle that, like how it was gonna look, but it looked perfect, like so spot on. It was so comparable to the video game. Like, it was just basically the video game, and they just threw it into the movie. Like, it was so perfect. He had the dual swords with the hooks on it and everything. His battle with Liu Kang was sick too, and I think he also had one of the funniest lines in the movie. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but when Kung Lao was getting his soul sucked from his body, and like by Shang Tsung, and he was taking it, he was like telling Liu Kang, he's like, "Oh, your friend's about to get his soul sucked." Like, it just sounded like he was gonna get sucked off or something. Like, it was hilarious. But I don't think it was intentional, but it ended up being one of the funniest lines of the movie. But yeah, no, I definitely like Cabal a lot, man. He was so dope, and honestly, every time he was on screen, I was just waiting for him to say something or do something. And I wanted him to be more on the screen, you know. So just to let you know, all the villains die in this fucking movie. So like, I'm hoping that they bring them back because if it's a one and done, it'll be a shame, because Cabal was so damn cool, man.
Jax, Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Scorpion.
Those three characters were the ones that stood out to me the most. But most of the characters were awesome. Like, they had their good dialogues, and they had a lot of really cool scenes. Kung Lao was pretty awesome. He had some of the best action scenes, honestly. He had a really good intro when like they reveal his character, which was super cool, and it was game accurate as hell. Liu Kang was great too. Ludi Lin killed it as Liu Kang, and he played it very well. He was definitely the Shaolin monk that I thought Liu Kang would be. And Scorpion, he was awesome too, and that's another thing I'm gonna talk about in the movie. But the screen time that he had was awesome. Like, and round of applause for Mr. Sonata, because he is like 60 years old playing Scorpion and moving around like he's 25 or 20. Like, he was running, fighting, doing everything. He was so cool. And I think I did see like some CG face replacement when it came to like the big fight scenes when there was multiple people. But I think for the most part, Mr. Sonata did a lot of the stunt work. So hats off to him, man. He's getting up there in age, and he's only looking younger. So he's a beast, and I definitely enjoyed his Scorpion. Jax was dope too. He had some cool, dope scenes, and like his fatality was sick. The one that they when he crushed the guy's head, exploded, and it was so dope. Yeah, character-wise, everybody felt like they were Mortal Kombat-ish, you know? Like, it was cool. Everybody felt like they were from the Mortal Kombat universe, and it was like very faithful to the game. So I definitely enjoyed that.
Round 2.
Now, another thing I like about the movie was how faithful it was to the game. Like, I felt like the director had a good understanding of what Mortal Kombat was, and obviously he loved the game as well, because it felt like it was from game to movie in certain parts of the movie. Character-wise, like costume-wise, ability-wise, even the way the characters fought sometimes too was like straight from the game, like from the moveset. Like, even like, for example, like Kung Lao, his Shaolin style, like his multiple fists and things like that, that was like ripped right from the game, like right from the moveset of his in MK11, I think it was. But yeah, it was so cool to see like everything like kind of manifest itself and like see it in a live action way. Sub-Zero had his ice barrage, where he uses like his ice as like kind of needle projectiles, and then he had his ice clone, which was sick. And he had his ice sword, and like Liu Kang with his fireballs and the bicycle kick, that was awesome. And Cabal with his speed, it looked exactly like the game. And then Sonya with her energy gauntlets, like ripped right from the game. Jax with his fatality, when he smashes the guy and he blows up his head. And fatality wise too, it was awesome. Speaking of fatalities, like Kung Lao's fatality was awesome, where he threw his hat on the floor and did the buzzsaw and then sawed Natara right in half. Like, that's right from the game. It was amazing, some of the elements, like, and how cool everything was. It was very faithful to the game, and I really enjoyed that part of the movie. Oh no! Now, on to the bad / just okay moments. So this particular issue was kind of higher up on my list on the first watching, but after watching it a second time, I felt like it rectified it. So it went from bad to okay. It was the pacing of the movie. So on the first watch, I felt like the movie was like they press fast forward and just let the movie go. Like, everything felt like it was happening too quick, and they just needed to get to the next scene. Like, everything was happening. There wasn't any like kind of room to breathe. But for some reason on the second watching, I just felt like the movie slowed down a lot, and it kind of made it more enjoyable. Like, I don't know if it was because I knew what was happening next, but I definitely enjoyed the movie more on the second time, like pacing wise. It just didn't feel like it was fast forward anymore. So I definitely suggest, if like you did see the movie once, that you give it another shot to kind of like absorb everything and give it another shot and see if your opinion changes. Because when I first left the movie theater, I gave it like a flat 7. Like, it was okay. But then on the second viewing, it bumped it up to like an 8, and I felt like it was a lot better than the first viewing. So definitely check it out twice if you can, because it'll really help the movie out, I think. Another just okay element was Shang Tsung, believe it or not. Like, he was just okay. Like, he wasn't spectacular to me. He didn't like stand out for me either. And he didn't really have any cool moments like that. He was just the character, you know? He did what he had to do in the movie. That's how I felt like he was. Like, he played his role, and that's about it. They also didn't show any of his shape-shifting abilities either. He was just very normal. He barely even used his sorcery in the movie. The only time he used his sorcery was when he took Kung Lao's soul, and that's about it. But Shang Tsung, he was just okay for me. He wasn't that spectacular to me. He was just there to be like a side villain of the movie, kind of the ringleader, orchestrating everything, and then Sub-Zero and everybody else would play a bigger role in the movie. But yeah, he was okay. Another one of the issues / just okay things was like the lack of main character use. Like, some of the characters that are staples of the franchise, like Scorpion, for example, he was barely in the movie. Like, he was in the movie, I think, for like 30 minutes in total, honestly. You get to see him in the beginning, his little origin story, and then from there on, he's not in the movie at all. Until like the last, honestly, probably 15 or 20 minutes of the movie, like legit. And the movie's 2 hours long, about 2 hours long. So they definitely underutilized his character a lot, because he was awesome when he was on screen though. Like, Mr. Sonata, he played him perfectly as Scorpion. Like, he was Scorpion to the T. But it was just a shame that they didn't put him in the movie enough, that he'll be a bigger part of the movie. So hopefully they rectify that, because he looked great. His character design was awesome. His effects, the fire around him teleporting, and the costume was awesome. And like, his skull, like when at the end when he killed Sub-Zero, revealing his face and like throwing the fire and the skull and everything was so cool. Whenever he was on camera, he was sick, but he just wasn't on camera enough for me. Now this element is kind of nitpicking a little bit, because I felt like most of the characters did a good job in the realm of acting and delivering their lines, but there was 2 characters that kind of fell flat sometimes for me. Was the main character Cole Young and Sonya sometimes. I feel like the way they delivered their lines in certain scenes, because not every scene was bad. Like, they had their good moments and stuff like that. But I think for Cole, the one scene that I did like feel like he was lacking was when they went into the void, and he gave like that speech of like, "Hey, we can still fight," and like it was kind of cheesy, kind of corny, and like it wasn't believable really. And then Sonya, she had her good moments too, but ultimately I think the writing was kind of what made her lackluster for me a little bit. But don't get me wrong, like she had her good scenes and stuff like that. So this is just me nitpicking little things here and there that felt like it was a little off. And I think the one bad element for me in this movie, believe it or not, was Raiden. I didn't like him at all. I didn't like how the way they depicted him. He was not the Raiden that I liked. Like, he was depicted like as a kind of an asshole. Like, he had no hope. In the game, he's almost like he's a god. He's like a lovable god, and he's like, he has hope in the future and doing the right thing, and he's friends with Liu Kang and Kung Lao. Like, they're actually friends and they have a relationship together and stuff like that. But I felt like in the movie, Raiden was like, he didn't care about the champions. He was like almost fed up with his role as like Earthrealm's protector. Like, you know, he was just ready to just give it up, and he was like, oh, this is what I have to deal with, or like, these are my champions, these guys suck ass, like, you guys aren't worthy. So like, there was no like words of encouragement of Raiden. Like, he was just like, he was almost like the Raiden that was corrupted by the amulet, you know. And I just didn't like the way they depicted Raiden in this movie. He was definitely he definitely wasn't the Raiden that I'm used to. So hopefully they fix that in the next movie. He'll be a little more Raiden-y, like a good god, you know. Like, he's lovable and he wants the best for Earth Realm, and like he'll help his champions and give them advice and things like that. There was none of that in this version of Raiden, so that was definitely one of the bad things that that this movie produced. So hopefully, like, in the next film, they'll change it up. Now, let's talk about some of the Easter eggs. So we get a cool look at the great Kung Lao in one of the shots when they were like first entering the temple, which was pretty cool. So when Sonya is talking to Cole and kind of like going over their investigations and what they've come up with, and explaining to him what Mortal Kombat was, there's a cool little picture of Nightwolf that we see, and his design looked pretty cool. I like that. And Nightwolf is one of the champions of Earthrealm that's been passed down. Like, he's a really cool character in the game. We also saw Kodo Khan, which was cool. I didn't think that was gonna be in the movie. That was a nice little Easter egg surprise that they put in there. We also see more of Shao Kahn when Sonya's walking into Raiden's temple and they're looking at all the little artifacts and things like that. There's another look at Shao Kahn, which is a very nice design too. He looks perfect. There's nothing wrong with that design. Some more little Easter eggs when we're inside Raiden's temple, like Katana's fans, and we also see Shinnok's amulet that that Kano tries to steal, which would have been a bad turnout for that, because Shinnok's amulet is one of the most powerful things in MK11. And it's pretty much dictating everything in that universe at the time. Overall, the movie was great. I definitely enjoyed it more than I thought I was, because I really don't trust video game movies really, but they've been making some strides lately. Sonic, that was actually, believe it or not, Sonic was actually a really good video game movie. And I think they're only improving from here on out. So Mortal Kombat's a nice introduction to the new, to the reboot of Mortal Kombat. I think it's only gonna get better from here if they keep the same attention to detail, improve the script a little more. Yeah, like I think they could only build from here and make it a little better. In terms of like theories and future of Mortal Kombat, I think in the next one we're gonna start seeing some more lore happening. Like, I feel like they gave us a little glimpse of Sub-Zero's future when he was dead and he was like burnt to a crisp and ash. Like, they had that specific shot of like the camera above Sub-Zero's body and like kind of outlined with ash and things like that. So maybe in the next movie they'll be introducing him, you know, getting into the story of him becoming Noob Saibot, which would be super cool because Noob Saibot is a super dope ninja, demon ninja, and he's super dope. Like how that shot was placed and how it looked, and it kind of looked like how Noob Saibot looks, just goo, like a black goo, and like it was definitely like very Noob Saibot-esque. So hopefully that's gonna come into the next movie. And then also we see Johnny Cage. Johnny Cage 100% confirmed now. He's gonna be in the second movie, which is good. I love Johnny Cage, and he's gonna be, I just hope they cast the right person for him, because Johnny Cage is a big character. He's a big character in terms of personality, so it's gonna be a hard role to fill. So I think they have to cast somebody with a lot of charisma, somebody that's funny, but also can fight, because Johnny Cage can fight. He's a good action star, so he's definitely a good fighter. So hopefully they get somebody that'll fill that role well. But yeah, like always guys, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And let me know what you think about the movie. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Or you just don't care about it? Regardless, just leave your comments below. And if you like the video, leave a like, subscribe, comment, share, all that YouTube stuff. And until I see you on the next video, peace out.
Thank you for watching.